I've wondered, what if the people in heaven, when they rest, if they need rest, I'm not sure, but what if when they lay down and sleep, we're just in different realms of existence, but at the same time, if nothing else, it's a movie script that I'm writing right now. The people that go to heaven, they're in heaven. They walk a plane of existence just like we do. The only difference is, in this movie, all the streets are paved gold, unlike asphalt. Every car is badass, like 5.0s and Lamborghinis and stuff like that. And it's all electric, so there's no smoke, smog messing up the air, polluting it. There's no diesel smell. And because it would be kind of unusual if you're living life and you don't ever lay down and relax and just take a nap or something in heaven. Because if you're up 24/7, I don't know, it'd be unusual, but I guess because it would kind of make you like a robot, and what's the point of that? So in this script, this movie that I'm writing, it's typical what heaven looks like. The houses are all mansion type, beautiful homes spaced apart. Each house is just spaced apart by a lot. The grass is so green and perfectly, it doesn't even need the rain. There's no rain because the ground is soiled already for where the grass needs to grow, and it's just set up like that. And so the people that dream in heaven, when they go to sleep at night, they dream. Their dream is them back here on earth. And for 8 hours that they dream, they come back to earth. But their 8 hours of dreaming is really 24 hours. And each time that they dream, the 24 hours, it's a continuous life on earth that they keep living. So it's like a seamless dream. 16 hours, you're in heaven. For 8 hours, it's like it's their duty to be an angel on earth in a body with a family, a life, a job. For instance, let's say I'm dreaming right now in heaven, and for the 8 hours that I dream, let's say it'll be double. So for the 8 hours that I'm dreaming in heaven, it's 16 hours on earth, because when I'm on earth in my dream state, and then I go and lay down and sleep for 8 hours, I'm sleeping and I'm back up in heaven. I'm back up in heaven for 16 hours until I wake up on earth, and then I'm in heaven dreaming for 8 hours, which is really 16 hours of the day. And it intertwines together. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like this. And I'm sure it's probably already in production, or it'll be made, and then I'll watch a movie that I just wrote, and then I'll be like, hey, where's my royalty checks, you thieves? just like what YouTube taking all my footage. Not that it's a bad thing that they did it. It's an honor. It means that they chose me to. They chose my footage. They thought my footage was the best on earth to take as a music video and use in the imagery. So because time is forever, it's forever revolving, and the future, the past, and the present moment is constantly running at the same time. So they took that footage and used it, and so it's an honor. It'll be more of an honor when when I'm publicly honored for it, instead of me just talking about it, yapping, saying, where's my money? Show me the money. So in the, I don't know, what would the movie be called? In Your Dreams. How about that? Is there a movie out there called In Your Dreams? Probably. Or maybe this would be called In Your Dreams in Heaven, as it is on earth. Something along those lines. But the point being is that it's only when you die and go to heaven is when you're going to know the cycle of time. Down here on earth right now, the first time I've ever been born, I'm realizing what time is, and it's not what it's just not what it is. It's transcending time from the future, past, and the present moment. It lined up in my right hand for a half hour straight on March 23rd, 2023, between 3:30 and 50 seconds and 4:01 and say about 10 seconds. So for a half hour straight in my right hand, I recorded 8 miracles, because the miracle is that I even discovered that YouTube can take, or not just YouTube, but anybody, but I'm going to use a famous rock band as a parable. So Kingdom of Heaven is like walking into the art museum, turning on the X app, playing a random shuffle of YouTube, recording it through the YouTube music app, and letting the songs play through, walking through the art museum, recording art. As I'm recording art, the Kingdom of Heaven is like having a 40-year-old video from a famous rock band. As you're recording it, playing that exact song, lining it up with your footage through the art museum, and rewinding it and putting it side by side, and seeing that the imagery is identical. It's not just one lucky coincidence at a time. It's over and 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 over. Once it gets to the dragon scene in the bookstore, it truly is over. Once it gets to that 9-minute period mark, and I'm showing you the dragon in the bookstore, and then next thing you know, you see a locust, a male, female, young person in Bono's video, and then a skull and bones turning into skull and bones, and the older lady with the dragon skin, Queen of Heaven, and then and at the same time, and then it shows Bono singing like the dragon and putting his arm out in the same exact direction, opening his mouth up just as wide as the dragon is, throwing the sword, the microphone up on the table, into my video 30 plus years ago. That's what the Kingdom of Heaven is like. So the time is just, it's like busted through. It's like my fist just busted right through it and reached in and grabbed the future and the past in the right hand, my right hand, through the cell phone. So there's the timing. So in heaven, and maybe this goes on for, it's like a transition period. It goes on for one lifetime. So you're alive for the first time in your life, like me right now. I go to sleep for 8 hours, and I dream in a kind of a foggy, heavenly state, because I'm in a heavenly realm, but sometimes being chased by Agent Smiths, Stephen James Deshawn's agents everywhere, because he can tap into them at any second. But once I die in this movie, I'm going to go to heaven. Once I'm in heaven, I am going to be awake for 16 hours, living in heaven. And then my duty as an angel that came from earth and rose up and went to heaven is to spend a third of my life back on earth as an angel in the flesh, reborn, living another lifetime. But this time I know that I'm in heaven. This time I know that when I wake up from my dream, I'm going to be in heaven. So for 2/3 of my life, I'm now in heaven, instead of 1/3 of my life being in a foggy state of mind in heaven through dreams. So I'm down here on earth as baby Robin, but this time I know it. So I already died and went to heaven. I already lived my life on earth. I conquered what I needed to conquer, and then I go to heaven, and I look like me, but you have everything's perfectly set up. I'm in heaven for 16 hours a day, and then I go to sleep. Once I go to sleep, I am now instantly on earth as baby Robin. Baby Robin lives his life however he lives it down here on earth. But from the beginning, baby Robin knows that he's an angel from heaven, and he's only in dreamland state right now. But because it's not only a dream, everything's tied together. Everybody knows each other, everybody sees. So for the 8 hours that I'm sleeping in heaven, it's really a 24-hour period altogether. So we'll just go with the whole day is 24 hours. Time in heaven is faster than time on earth. So in the movie, I'm down here on earth, but I'm really in heaven dreaming for 8 hours. But time flies, and it's really a 24-hour consistent, seamless cycle. Every time I dream in heaven, it's a 24-hour period down here on earth. Even from 6 in the morning to 6 in the morning the next day. But I'm only sleeping from 10 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning up in heaven. But my duty, our duty as angels, is to populate this earth until we get everybody to become a believer. That's what the task is. And then once every single last person on earth becomes a believer in this movie, because eventually the movie's going to end and it's going to have a solid ending where Satan has been cast out from the earth completely. Satan has to go back to his own world where he is just doesn't exist anymore in our world. So baby Robin grows up the second time. I'm here now the first time. The second time is after I die and go to heaven, and then I understand what time is. We're not subjected to time. But it's like you go from it's an upgrade until you get to the third heaven. The third heaven is where you're in heaven completely for 24. There is no time, for an eternity, and you don't need to sleep. So the third time around in this movie is the complete graduation of, first you go from living on earth, not knowing jack, and then once you like right now, my first life, I'm learning about time. I'm learning about Jack and Jill, and the reason why they both went up the hill and why Jill came down with 250 when they both went up with $1.25. And I'm learning about the devil and all his tactics. But once I die this time around, I go to heaven. But in the meantime, 2/3 of my life is basically like pretty much a living in hell. When I go to sleep, I drift off into heaven, because heaven to me is where you are completely relaxed and wide awake. So when you're laying down and you're completely rested and you're dreaming and you're in heaven, or your dreams are so vivid, but that's only, some people are like that, but they're really vivid when you die and go to heaven and then dream and then come back to earth in a seamless time period that revolves seamlessly, where each 8-hour period is really 24 hours continuously on earth. So you live your life on earth. Second time around, baby Robin grows up, but he is consciously aware of his state of mind, that even in diapers, when I'm like, it's like, man, can't wait to go to sleep and go back to heaven. Because the upgrade is the second time around of your life. You have a duty. It's from God. It's to come back down here on earth until everybody gets converted through that lifetime. And you're now living 2/3 of your life in heaven. It's kind of like being paroled, but still being on probation. It's like getting out of prison, but you still have a probation officer to go visit, and community service to do, until you finally get off parole, which is the second time around. But the second time around, when you die, there's no pain. So that's the gift that God gives you. The second time around on earth, you come back down to earth as an angel in heaven as you're dreaming. But when you die, it's painless. You don't feel pain. And that's the second transition. So you go to heaven after you die, and then now you are 2/3 of your life is in heaven. The other third isn't even as bad as it was being 2/3 of your life on earth, because you now have the knowledge of God, the timing, your task, no pain. You live this life, you get married, you have kids, whatever it is. It gives you enough time to convert everybody, and then you go back to sleep here on earth, and you wake up in heaven again. And then until your mission is accomplished on earth, it's like, you know, characters in the movies, they die out. You know how like Prince died out and then he just hops in. That's his his character died out. He didn't die. He just went into another meat suit, parading around as someone else in Hollywood. That's what all of yous do. You just have scripts. Even Jimi Hendrix, all of yous, everybody. Yous all didn't really die. It's all a script. So, once you come down to earth, in your dream state in heaven, and you know you have full knowledge, it's pretty much like the YouTube agents that act like they don't have the knowledge, but they're fallen angels, but for some reason are evil. I don't get that part. I don't understand why. They have all this knowledge, but they're hiding it and they're prideful about it, and that's just what I've seen. It'll be the exact opposite. You come down telling everybody, hey, I'm actually dreaming right now, and you're in my life 24 hours a day. However, let me show you what heaven's like. And you're able to tell people what heaven is like. You're able to tell them that when you die, this is your task. You're going to come back down here. You're going to do for God. And then when you die, it's not going to hurt. When you come back, you're not going to feel any pain. It's just like being in a dream, but fully awake. Unlike how the devil hides the truth from everybody, if they truly knew what heaven was like, if they can get a glimpse of the real heaven right now, to be shown, like talking to like if I could talk to my dad right now and he's in heaven, and he can just show me a glimpse of what his neighborhood looks like. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the motivation people would have on earth to do godly things and be righteous, because that's where they're going to go, knowing that the devil's going to be left alone and destroyed, because the devil will die from loneliness, and that's the goal. Because of how Satan wanted to be worshipped, Lucifer wanted to be adored. He wanted to be worshipped. He wants his churches. He wants to be up on the pulpit. He wants to preach. He wants to have people clap for him. He wants to be funny. You know, that's what Lucifer wanted. And he lied to everybody. So when you're told the truth and you get a glimpse of heaven, that's another way that the earth will be cleansed. And you may have to go one earth at a time, and it may be endless for an eternity, cleansing earths, getting Satan out of all the earths, eliminating all suffering forever. That's how that works. And then once your second portion of your life is over and you're done dreaming fully, and you finally pass away on earth in your dreamland, in this movie called In Your Dreams As It Is in Heaven, So Shall It Be on Earth. It's a long title, but after your second mission is accomplished, you finally get complete rest in heaven 24/7. And that would be a perfect fulfillment of how to get rid of the devil if I was God. Doing upgrades. It's a reward system. Oh, and on top of that, when you die the first time and you go to heaven and then you dream for 8 hours and you're back on earth for 24, living another life, you're not born into a poor family. You're going to be born into a family that's wealthy. And you're going to be a lot better off because it's an upgrade, remember? God only needs you for about 140 years to live in the flesh halfway, and then come back down, live on earth, but not in fleshly pain for the next 70 years. But your 2/3 of your life is in heaven, unlike the 2/3 of your life in hell. In your first life, your second life, it's 2/3 up. First life, it's 2/3 down. 1/3 is dreaming, which gives you a break, which is kind of heavenly, but foggy. The second life, you're in heaven completely. You know your task, you know the truth, you know time. You come back down here when you dream. You tap right into your life. It's seamless. It's all the way through for 70 years. 70 years times 70 years, 140. And then if there's like a 4-year, I don't know, a 4-year process of complete schooling in a heavenly college in between the time of 70 years on earth in flesh and 70 years in heaven. 2/3 of your life in heaven, 1/3 on earth, compared to 2/3 of your life on earth and 1/3 in heaven when you actually dream to get a break from reality. The first life, like myself, you're born into a poor family. Second life, you're born into a rich family, and you don't feel pain, and you know your task, and it's a beautiful upgrade. But you're not fully graduated just yet, because it needs a total of 144 years. God needs 144 years of your time before you graduate into eternity, where now you are fully in heaven. You don't come back down to earth anymore, because he only needed you for 144 years. How's that script, huh? That should be a blockbuster hit movie. No question about it. Right, Johnny? Derek, how about it? It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And the second time around, Stephen James has no power over you whatsoever. Not at all. Not even a little bit. The threats, they don't even, it's like gnats. Not that they're not like gnats now, but, you know, the threats and just the horse malarkey and all that. But, you know, the devil was necessary to, because without the devil, the only way you can make things 100% good is by knowing the devil, knowing his tactics, and falling into his traps, and then rising up from his traps and getting out of it. But the devil is only necessary for a time period, and that time period is 140 years. Because once the last person is saved, because here's what happened first. The devil's angels fell. They were enticed. They were angels in heaven. They decided to come down here in dreamland and follow Lucifer. So it's like the metaverse. They're tapped in. Part alien angels. I don't know. I hear Justin Michael talk a lot about these earthlings, almost in a degrading way because we're stupid. But we don't have the knowledge. Like, in other words, we weren't given knowledge like you have and concealed it. God's children, not the disobedient ones, but the obedient ones, they're the ones that flip everything and change it. So the exact opposite happens. Look, everybody on earth right now, you're a firstborn, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe everybody's dead. Maybe everybody already died and they know that they're in Deathland, and I don't, and I'm learning it. Could be that. Maybe everybody's dead and you're all in dreamland anyway. You already know what I'm saying is true, but you're doing it in a controlled by Satan way. So you're controlled by the devil. Great. second time around, God's angels come down. You see, the earth is a battleground. Satan loves company. He loves company. He loves to be worshipped by that company too. He also loves to stall any way possible wherever you go, especially if you're trying to get to work. He just sends a bunch of people all at once with no particular, like, let's just say that all these people are all gang stalkers. Every single one of them was told to just hurry up and drive because Robin is trying to get to work. I know, right? Ridiculous. But for those of you that are gang stalkers, you know how unridiculous that is, because you're told to do what you're doing and you will go do it because you have no choice. You agreed. It's a contract. If you don't do what you're told, you know how difficult Satan can make your life in the pit. So getting out of the pit is like coming up to earth and being a nightmare to people. Instead of the heavenly realm, as it is in heaven, so shall it be on earth. In your dreams movie that I just wrote, it's the exact opposite. You're in heaven coming down here, telling people the truth, showing them what heaven is like, telling them that you've already been alive once. This is your second go round. Showing them proof of it and letting them see a glimpse of heaven through your videos of you up there. Unlike how they have knowledge down here and they hide it with so much pride, degrading, earthlings because they're stupid. Well, I didn't expect to get to work until 9 o'clock anyway. I'm only like 10 minutes away, but not like this. This is terrible. It doesn't even make sense. They can make a 10 lane highway and it's still going to be clustered. I don't think this isn't a normal. This isn't just because everybody is on the highway at once. There's an accident. There's some type of a hold up more than usual. But it's expected, and it's just the way it is on Earth. So here I am. This is my 2/3 of my life. I'm awake. I am awake, but I know I'm sleeping. I know this is a Matrix dream world nightmare. Agent Smiths everywhere. The devil can tap into anybody at any given time. He can't tap into me. He can only try to tap into my thoughts. But he can't control me. He cannot tell me what to do. Yeah, I have a job, and in my job I'm paid to do work. I'm expected to do work. If I expect to get paid, my boss, my employer expects me to do work. That's the only time that the devil has me, is when I'm at work. Because I can't do what I want to do while I'm at work. I can do some things, but for a certain period of time. And like if I do too many timestamps in a day, it's not even that the devil even has me. I'm just consciously aware that I need not to charge my boss if I'm doing too much timestamps and I'm paying attention to videos or something too long. That's why days like yesterday, when I worked 11 hours, I really worked 11 hours in about 25 minutes. However, I'm going to not charge for the 25 minutes because even if I didn't even spend that much time on timestamps, I'm making up for past time stamps or future In other words, today I can work 8 hours, but I'll really work 7 hours and 40 minutes, and we'll call it even from the day before. Because I don't clock in. I don't have a clock to clock in. It's just, you either believe that I'm clocking in at this time or you don't. Because I came clean sometime last year or a year ago to when I was going down to the art museum, and I was spending more time than subtracting, and I just felt like I was being, I was being dishonest. So that's the only time the devil has me, is when I'm at work. That's it. The only time he has me is right now. Even when I'm trying to get to work, because he's holding up the path to get to work. Yesterday, between jobs, when I went from the one job to the other, and I'm on the clock, when Satan gang stalks me, then it's like a bonus. It's like, bring it, Satan. Go ahead, stall me, stupid. I'm on the clock. You're going to stall me while I'm on your clock? Because a couple cars still stalled, even though I'm going from one job to the other. There's no irritation level when you're getting paid to be on the road and people are gang stalking you. So, you know what? Maybe I should get a job as a truck driver and deliver stuff. Because you can stall me all you want. I'm getting paid to deliver stuff. And that's where I get Satan back, is when, not that I'm trying to, it's just the ridiculousness of controlling people and having them do stupid things day in and day out, like Agent Smith, so he can just tap into anybody at any given point in time and they turn into Agent Smith. That's exactly explaining the gang stalking corporation. And you gang stalkers know it, because you're all controlled by the Mr. Smith. And then you got Will Smith. It's like a different... Yeah, of course. It's like a different... Will Smith is a detective. He apprehends, catches, and arrests. Accident after I-76. Expect delays. Yes, of course. This is where Satan, this is where he does his little stall tactic and sets up an accident scene. Do people get in accidents? Yeah, of course. But it just always seems to be at a time when you're just trying to get to work. How many times has this 95 been blocked off? This is where the bridge collapsed. Remember that? When Jacob Israel was talking about the bridge collapse on his birthday, 6/11, or it's supposed to be 6/11. He claims to be Elon Musk, but Elon Musk was born June 28th, or I guess they made him on June 28th, the same day that I was born. And speaking of that, changing gears now that I wrote the movie, the false prophet. I know people look at Jonathan Kleck as a false prophet, and maybe he was a false prophet. I don't truly know. I just know that right now he's more like Michael, the archangel, or Christ, one or the other, the same spirit, because and being pointed out as someone that was a sinner before. So was Jesus. So, for those of you that don't know, Jesus was a sinner, just like everybody else. So, The false prophet. Well, Jacob Israel reminds me of a false prophet. Today, still. Jonathan Click reminded me of a false prophet before, and as you people know, I always try to figure out the script. Stephen James, also a false Messiah, but that's what the Antichrist is, the false Messiah. Not a false prophet. False prophet, I think it's different. I think a false prophet is someone that prophesies of things to come, like Jacob Israel. Well, I had a dream. I don't pay much attention to it. Donald Trump is carrying a casket. You have the script. You have the script. I don't have the script. When I said Trump was going to lose initially and come back with a wounded head after he deals with defeat, well, I'm telling you that I don't have a script or a purse. And even if I had a purse, I don't have any money in it. But I wouldn't have a purse anyway because I'm a male. I don't carry purses. So that's another reason why I don't have a purse. There's two reasons. Because I'm a man and because I'm broke. Now, Steve will say, well, Rob, and he lives in a $500,000 house. Yeah, well, it used to be $300,000 when I first moved into it, and it's not my house. It's just a rental. And it used to be $2,000 a month when I first lived in it, and it still is, 12 years later, because of the type of a tenant that I am. I've rented that house. It's not the smartest thing to do because I could have paid it off by now, but my credit wasn't good, and I just stayed in the area I stayed at because it's the third top rated school district in Pennsylvania. And my two kids, stepson and Christian, went to one of the best high schools, and one of them went to Temple and graduated, and my kid is doing exactly what he wants to do with his job that's nice and cushy for him. So it worked out for everybody. The prices, I didn't move into the house as a $500,000 house. The price just went through the roof, and it's sickening how everything goes up. Everything goes up, but my landlord kept the rent basically the same for 12 years, knowing that she could raise it to about $3,300 a month. So that's why I'm still here in that house, and Steve knows it. But just to clarify it for some of you that don't, as if I have money. I don't have money yet. I'll tell you when I hit the lottery. Trust me. I'm not going to keep that a secret. You're going to know. Robin hit the lottery. Traffic is just traffic. So, Jonathan Click is my boy. Whoever Jonathan Click is. Again, that reminds me of Paul the Apostle. Reminds me of Peter at the same time. But it could really be Peter and Paul on the same channel, and I'm talking to both of them. But the amount of information that Jonathan Click keeps pouring out. I watched a video of Drake yesterday. It was pretty funny. Because it reminded me of Jonathan Click, Drake. He's like, I don't know what song it is. I wanted to do a comparison at some point. But he's like, the producer, the dude, the guy, he's like, come on, Drake, we need to make another video. And he's like, here, I sent you a video, because whatever. And Drake's like, oh, man. It's the one where He hired Justin Bieber to do a fill-in. I think I'm a rock star. Yeah, there you go. And he sent him. But before that, the producer he wants Drake to make another video. He's like, fire come out of his mouth. He's all fired up, and then he's so fired up, he sends him 3. You know how when I did the video, and I never seen this video before, or maybe I did, but I didn't pay attention to it. You know how I did the art museum footage, and then I did comparisons, and I do it side by side, and I'll do one video next to the other, tying into the other, with talking in this one and that one, and both of them combining and getting your brain, both sides of your brain, to comprehend each video. Because some people are like, you got to stop. It's too much. You can't understand. I'm trying to listen to this and that. Well, you got to adjust your brain to hearing it, because I hear it clearly. That's why I'm putting it out there. So the producer sends Drake 3 videos. First it's him talking, then it's him again in another side by side, and then he adds a 3rd video, and then he's all talking and showing him stuff, and it's like a minute long, and and then as soon as Drake's done, it's so funny. I gotta play that video. He's like, man, this guy, he wants me to do another video. I don't even know what to say. It's just too much. That's what it reminds me of. It's like I'm that producer guy, and Drake is Jonathan Click, and I want him to do another video, and I keep sending him more information, and then here, make a video of this, Jonathan. Let's talk about Jacob and Esau. Am I right? Am I on track? Because it seems like it. I hope it's true. It sounds right. It fits. The Fitz James family. You got Stephen James coming after you. Yeah, he could be your younger brother, like Prince Harry and Prince William. He can be like Harry Esau, as the younger brother. However, he's the firstborn, because with me, Stephen James is the firstborn, and then Jonathan Kleck's the second. Like a heel catcher, grabbing onto Steve's heel, taking his birthright. But Steve had already given up his birthright for a bowl of soup, because he'd rather eat a bowl of soup all day long with his new birthright that you gave him, Jonathan Kleck. Aren't you the one that, isn't it your idea? Isn't it your idea, the bowl of soup? Because apparently you cooked some really good soup, but it's some kind of host body transformation of the tree of life that produces soup. So it seems like that is all tying together, where it's perfectly understood and aligned, but I don't really know. It just makes sense, so I'll say it. How can Prince Harry be Esau when he's the youngest? Well, because if Stephen James has anything to do with being the Harry, Prince Harry, the Asu, just a knockoff of Jesus, then I'm not going to get away with this traffic, am I? Then he would be the firstborn, even though he's younger. I mean, he would be the secondborn, even though he's younger. I mean, he would be the firstborn in a YouTube platform towards me. And however, in the YouTube platform, Stephen James is what, 57? Jonathan Clegg is 61, 62. Isn't Moses and Aaron 3 years apart? And but Steve as Esau, well, Esau was the firstborn. He's the one that put his hand out first. But technically, in the YouTube platform, he's the firstborn out of Jonathan Kleck, because Jonathan Kleck was second on my radar, next to Steve and James. But yet, in the age that's said on YouTube, according to the script, Steve is younger than Jacob. Steve is younger than Jonathan Kleck, Jacob. And I think that's why you have that name, Jonathan Kleck 2, JK, to make it as Jacob. Just like Steve Ben-Nun has INL, Israeli News Live, like Inlo, from above. And then, so Steve and James, he has attacked Jonathan Kleck, so it's not like he hasn't. I never heard Derek Rose attack Jonathan Kleck. However, he did show his moniker and said that he showed 2 comments, as in twins, and he said they're holding on to their God. He could have been implying that he is their God, not sure, but because at some point the serpent in the garden tricked Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve, to me, is Jonathan Kleck, the channel itself, and whoever else is on there. At least I am hoping so, because that'd be great if Jonathan Kleck owns this earth and he was only tricked by the devil. Because Stephen James is very convincing. He is a very subtle beast of the field, for sure. He's slick. He is slick. I've learned that everything he says about me is a lie, and everything that he says about him is a lie. Everything he says about him is me, and everything I say about him is true. He's a liar. I know you are, but what am I? That's the game that Steve plays. But in the end, I'll tell you, man, he one hell of a way to get me to know the truth. Just turn everything upside down. Turn the meaning upside down. Everything he says about me, he's really talking about himself. When he says you're such a liar, it's sickening. I always picture it like this. He's talking to him. He's looking in the mirror. All he's doing is recording, looking at himself in the mirror, but showing me in the video. When he talks to the House of Thieves, he's talking to the House of Thieves and showing my moniker, but he's talking about all of you thieves in his house. So, regardless, in the end, Steve and James and Jonathan Kleck, they hug each other like Jacob and Esau. And I can see how Jonathan Kleck may think that Steve is coming after him, he's going to kill him. But because he keeps doing that with me, he still has his threats. Shit-talking liar from the pit. Antichrist. I can't believe that you're believing the horse shit that's coming out of this, meaning himself, this Antichrist mouth. And if you can't see past that, then you can't see past it. Then you're gonna be surprised when it's time to finally know the truth. So I hope I just pray that I'm on track with my understanding of these people, because who is Jacob and Esau in the Bible? Well, Jacob is the one that rules as El, the Almighty God. He's the one that rules as, not is, but as the Almighty God. Because Jacob, his sin, what is it? Israel's sin, Jacob's reproach or something. At one point I'm thinking, is Jacob and Israel two different people, or is it the same one? And you got Jacob Israel with his name. That's not I wouldn't say you're going to rule as El the Almighty God, Jacob, unless you're actually Jonathan Kleck behind a mask, still portraying to be that character that acts like he doesn't know what's going on. You know, so that brings me back to the false prophet. When you say, when you talk about the things that all of a sudden, I don't know, I start talking about things and I don't know nothing. Look at that. It happens in the world, and that's because you're the one writing the script. So you're falsely prophesying. That would make you a false prophet. Jonathan Kleck isn't falsely prophesying. He's, you know, even the two witnesses in the Bible. There's a channel that I just subscribed to, and I believe one of the characters talking was Donald Trump. It's called Lion of Judah, and they do really good graphics, and it makes me want to learn to get the editing software program to do layovers, screen layovers. That's the one thing I'm missing. On my channel, I'm missing the layovers. Well, I don't do editing. I don't go back and edit stuff. I edit on the fly with how I just let things rip. I let it rip. But a couple things I'd like to secure up is on my channel is to fade away instead of hard cuts, fading, and then being able to do layovers where, let's say Stephen James is talking, right? And then I have the devil talking in another video, and I lay their faces together. And then also how in my art museum footage, I really want to do it to that. Show U2's videos and my footage and overlay that. That'll probably be the biggest dagger, because you could see it clearly instead of, because at the moment you gotta lift up both of your eyes like those rails just did, and look on the left side of the video and the right side of the video when I show you the comparisons. So you got to kind of look back and forth. When I can blend it together, that would be sweet. But so Jonathan Kleck to me would be somebody that I would love to have as my mouthpiece on earth, because he already is. But I mean, like, really, you know, hey, here's Robin Tees, and I appear on his show, and he's on my show, and on Earth itself. I'm hoping that he's on Earth, and I get to meet him and hang out with him for the rest of my life. And Steve too. Don't worry, Steve. I still love you too, but you know, it's a different way. You're that hard-nosed, tough love, tough shit love that I don't remember experiencing before. EV50005. It would just be nice that everybody that I've come across is finally telling the truth. There's no more hard sentences to try to figure out. No more playing games. We can actually go fishing for real in a boat, or, you know, like a big one, like a yacht, and relax for the rest of my life on Earth before I go to heaven. Before I go to heaven and dream, come back to Earth in dream state. Even though I'm gone, I'm going to come back in my movie in order to, you know, just keep making sure that Satan is destroyed from people's minds. Because Jonathan Clegg doesn't stop. And I don't stop either. And there are two witnesses in the Bible that doesn't stop either. These two witnesses, they do miracles. They do legitimate, non-stop. Oh, even because Moses and Elijah was considered as two witnesses at one point, right? And they have the power to control the weather. They can make it rain. They can pour down plagues as often as they will. Every time they upload a video, there comes another plague. And it reminds me of Jonathan Clegg, where the Home Depot, like Moses, where Moses was able to control the weather. And in that Home Depot tornado, when I was pointing to my hat the night of, and then Tornado Clegg blasted through, well, guess what? There was a second name attached to that tornado, and it was Shiloh at Robin Lane. So that reminded me of Moses, where he's able to control the weather and bring down a plague at his will, because the building was destroyed. And it was so crazy that I had predicted it beforehand, like bringing down a plague in the sight of men. And it really happened. I got tangible evidence to show it, that it happened exactly that way. But I told you it was Tornado Clegg. It wasn't just a tornado. It was Tornado Clegg. He was the one getting up. He was so excited. That the very day, so excited, just like the bombing, the Nashville bombing, the night before Christmas Eve, Adam and Eve, Christmas Eve, he got up excited about the next day, the Christmas gift he was getting ready to give everybody. And boy, did he ever. Because nobody died, and that's the gift. Just like the Sandman Hotel, where nobody died and blew up the entire building. Just like the tornado in Dallas, Texas, during the Eagles-Dallas game. Nobody got hurt at the Home Depot. It was obliterated. And it was a tornado. It was weather. That's like God ripping through. So basically what I predicted was God was going to destroy a Home Depot that night in Dallas, Texas, a high terror watch on October 20th, during the Eagles and Dallas football game, that the Eagles were going to get destroyed if you wanted to win $1 million. Well, there's two witnesses regardless, and they prophesy for 3 years, and then when they're killed, I believe it may be a literal 3.5 days when they rise up. Because I think it's 3 years at first, and then it's 3.5 days. But people are going to think it's 3.5 years because that's why they're partying. They don't know it's only 3.5 days. But even if it's 3 years, 3 full years, well, they were giving gifts one to another on Christmas 2020, weren't they? The next day. Were they not exchanging gifts one to another? Or even if it's 3.5 days from that moment on, 3.5 years, then that would be June 25th, 2024, 3.5 years from that time when Jonathan Clegg gave the whole world a Christmas gift. And the next day, the entire block of Nashville, where they were gnashing their teeth, blew up. Oh, and they were given a 15-minute warning to get out of there, just like I said. And everything I said in the video the day before, they used on the news. I have a playlist of Christmas in Nashville that shows all that. I've learned to organize my information for the future. just in case if I want to go back to it. So there it is. Now I'm worn out from talking for an hour. Well, I just started watching John Click's video. I'll listen to the rest of it at work. I always look for confirmations of the things that I said, and then I'll re-listen to my previous video to see what I said, and then see if it connects with what John Click was talking about. Because it sure seems like it is. It just seems like the right fitting for what's going on between Jonathan Click and Stephen James, the two witnesses that I've used for myself.